Protests continue in Minneapolis overnight following the death of George Floyd.
We must get to that shared table and use this powerful moment for real change.
Change is now. Change is up to not me, but to all of us.
You are ordered to leave. Regardless of your purpose, you are in violation of the law.
And I want to renew my commitment to addressing racism that exists in our neighborhoods, the workplace, and in law enforcement.
This is about race. It's about ethnic disparities. It's about poverty. It's about educational inequality. It's about the underserved.
1 week in Columbus.
One more black man dead.
We
must
start
the conversation
now.
Good evening and welcome to The Conversation. We're here tonight to listen to the perspectives of members of the Black community to get their takes on this moment in time in our city and our country, and allow them to be heard so we can start to see positive changes on the issues of racism and racial injustice. We are not here to vilify the police or politicians because it will take their commitment and cooperation for things to get better. We hope they're watching and listening though, because they need to reach out to be a part of this conversation as it continues.
And it is a conversation that's been a long time coming.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
This is the conversation Martin Luther King Jr. started in 1963. A conversation pushed to the background for 28 years until Rodney King was seen being beaten in 1991. Once again, people raised their voices and shared their anger, but did not have the conversation.
You saw Philandro reaching for his ID. You heard Eric tell you I can't breathe. And still their murderers get placed on administrative leave, keeping broken communities in cycles of pain, with nowhere to turn to, with nothing to gain, only to know it's gonna happen the same in just a few days when it happens again. This is the cycle we're begging you to end. Which side of history do you want to stand? Because we've been asking to be heard all this time. We asked for police reform. You gave us 45. When we asked for justice for Trayvon Martin's life, you told us standing his ground was his killer's right. So now that you hear us asking as a nation, telling you we will be heard in worldwide demonstrations, no longer allowing your comfort to continue enabling races, are you ready now to sit down and have this conversation?
And we're here with 4 members of the Black community: Deontay Johnson, Heather Johnson, Steve King, and Mark Granville. Thank you all for being here. It's going to be hopefully a very lively conversation, and just speak your heart, speak your mind, because that's what we're here for. Deontay, I want to start with you. I've known you for a long time. You're a member of this community, small business owner, grew up here, played football here, raising a family here. You've been here a long time. What are your thoughts on what's been happening in this country for the last 10 days and what you've seen in this city for the past week?
Well, it's been very interesting because, initially when it first started, it felt like it was going to be another protest, another one of these here today, gone tomorrow type movements. The interesting part is when it started to splinter into different cities. So we have a situation where Columbus, Ohio, we're not Minneapolis, but people here are just as passionate about what's going on. So you're seeing a lot more people get involved, and quite frankly, there's nothing else to do. So it gets you an opportunity to be very passionate, pay attention, and kind of get after it.
Heather, we first met you on the television. We interviewed you at a protest, and you've been going pretty religiously to these protests. Why is it so important to you for you to go each and every day?
I go off of the Martin Luther King quote, which is, the time is always right to do what's right. And even though this is my first protest, it won't be my last. I just know that it's time to do what's right, and we need to go protest and speak out.
And you've taken your son to a few of these, right, too?
I've taken him to none of them at this time.
Mm-hmm. Is it a worry of just them getting too violent, or I'm sure you talked to him about it?
I've spoken with him, but I haven't pushed him to do anything that he's not comfortable with, and right now he's not comfortable.
That's fair. Steve, local DJ at Power 107 and just Radio 1, and not only that, but you help coach young men. And I know one thing that I think is really important to hear is, why do the words Black Lives Matter to people? Why is that so important to hear and to say?
Well, I think it's important because, I mean, we want to make sure that the narrative is not like controlled by anybody else. Black Lives Matter is what it is. It's our lives that matter. I'm a black man. I'm raising 3 young black boys as well as a daughter. Our lives is what matters right now. It's not an issue of, well, we all are equal, and that's the goal that we want to have, but we're the ones that have to worry about getting pulled over because of the color of our skin, getting mistreated a certain way because of the color of our skin. So yes, at this point, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Mark, same thing. We met you just like we met Heather at the protest, and you were at the State House, and there's this great moment where, it seems like everyone's maybe going to march, and you stay back and start talking to one of the troopers that are standing guard. What made you want to do that?
I think it was mostly because I realized the process that needs to happen in order for us to actually see change. It can't just be the protests, it can't just be us talking to the police, and it can't just be the people creating policies. It has to be the 3 combined. We're being heard now because, even us having this conversation today shows that the protests are doing something. But having that conversation with the police to really understand what they're doing and what the kind of rules they have to follow based on what the laws say, and then realizing that there is one more step that needs to take place, which is speaking with those people who create policies to know that this is something that's not okay and it's happening to us on a regular basis. We've spoken to your officers, and this is how we need to change it.
Well, we're just getting started. We're going to be back with this group in just a bit, but Darlene Hill is live at a local soul food restaurant with more. And Darlene, this conversation is going to continue where you are.
Yeah, the conversation, we've already started the conversation here. We're over on the southeast side of Columbus at a restaurant that's called Way Down Yonder, and they're going deep on the conversations here about the unrest, about the riots, the demonstrations that we've seen. I'm going to be talking to these 4 men tonight about what they are watching, history in the making right now. I'm going to start right now with Kenny. Kenny Marshall lives here in the Columbus area. Kenny, let's talk about, let me just ask you this. How are you sitting with what's been going on over the past 10 days? How are you feeling?
Well, the emotions range from sadness to mad to despair to hopeful. I think if there's anything to come out of this, it's forcing a conversation that's long overdue about the treatment of folks that, because of how they look, how they're treated in this country. And so I think it's long overdue, but you can't help but feel the frustration, when you have to see these types of things happening in
Adam
2020.
Freud, let me ask you. You're talking about sitting with some anger, some frustration, but there's also some hope, some optimism going on, because the faces of the demonstrators, of the protesters, that's changed, and that's made you change the way you feel sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt. I think for the first time in our lifetime, what you're seeing is protests happening not only in the Americas, but it's in Asia, it's in Africa, and the faces of those protesters, and sometimes the protagonists in a constructive way, are not necessarily brown and black. And so when you see that, there's hope that people beginning to understand that our lives, in fact, are inextricably tied to one another.
But what do you say, though, Adam, to people who say, come on, we've done this before, we've been here before, we've marched across the bridges, we've walked through the neighborhoods. Is it because, like you said, it's not just happening in Ferguson, it's not just happening in Brooklyn, it's not just happening in certain neighborhoods, it's now all over the world?
Well, I think that's part of the answer, but it's a fair criticism, because when we talk to the younger generation, their perspective is, listen, the very thing you guys told us for the past 40 years has not worked. You told us to go to school, we still get marginalized. You told us to get great educations, we still get marginalized. We can't job, we can't go to the barbershop without being reminded of the color of our skin. The difference in essence, however, this time around, essentially being that it's now visible. Literally what happened with Mr. Floyd is the equivalent of what happened at the Edmund Tullis Bridge when white folks in this country finally saw black people being attacked by dogs. You watch somebody had their life snuffed out from them inside of 8 minutes. That's a whole different,
And the last
absolutely.
words we heard him say, other than "I can't breathe," he was calling out for his mama.
Absolutely.
Kenny, we talked about this a couple of minutes ago, where we were trying to order some catfish and some wings here and things like that are way down yonder. We also talked about how you don't get to say anything about who you are. When you walk out the front door every day, you're a black man. People know that, people see that. Tell everybody why it's so important not to fear that.
Well, you can't fear that. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a black man. My experiences are going to be far different from folks who don't share my complexion. But at the same time, I'm hopeful because now that we're having these types of conversations, people can understand that, you know, you don't have to fear a person because of the color of their skin. We're people. It doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter what type of job I have. It doesn't matter if I'm an upstanding citizen or not. At the end of the day, I'm inextricably tied to the experiences of black and brown people all over this world. And I'm not going to be fearful of that. And I think it's time that we forward this conversation.
Okay, you said it best earlier. Black is a blessing, okay? So we just heard Adam Troy talk about how we tell our children, go to school, get an education, do good, do right. We're going to hear from our college students next time we come back out here on the Southeast side. And they just graduated from Morehouse College, the college where you just saw one of the young men tased while he was sitting in his car 15 minutes after the curfew there in Atlanta. But for now, we've been asking you all week. We want to hear how you feel about what's going on, the unrest, the rioting, what you're seeing right now, and how you can be part of this conversation here on NBC4. You sent in our videos. Now take a look and listen.
One thing that I do feel powerful in doing, and I have used as a platform, is protesting, seeing my people, out there holding our fist up, proud and happy and strong, but then the allies, the abundance of allies that have came out together. That is one thing of pride that is making me feel good and making a little bit of power. So I feel that we are making change, and we are going to make change. There will be change. Keep it up and stay peaceful, please. Treat everybody as human. We are human. We all bleed red blood. So be safe, but
what I hope to see is real systemic and structural change where white people aren't paid $5,000 to $15,000 more as their black counterparts with the exact same job description, where black women don't have to change the way that their hair naturally grows out of their head because it's deemed unprofessional, and where black children are receiving the same quality education as the Dublin and New Albany's of the world.
Because America's finally standing up for something. Systemic racism. It's been plaguing us forever. The issue is, what do we do about it? What did our predecessors and ancestors do that we can learn from? And what did they not do that we need to do in order to make some progress? That's how I feel.
Our hearts go out to the family of George Floyd. That's our brother, our nephew, our sons, and our hearts surely are hearts are broken. Yet we're hopeful, we're resilient, and we know that it's just time for change.
Now, earlier this week, I had the chance to speak with a woman by the name of Adrienne Hood. She's Henry Green's mother. Now, she told me that there's no greater pain than losing a child. Now, Henry Green, he was shot by Columbus police back in 2016, and she said that she marched then, and after seeing what happened in Minneapolis, she marches now.
Please, man. Please, please.
Hearing George Floyd's last desperate cries for his mother as he knew he was close to taking his final breath, Adrienne Hood could only wonder if her son Henry Green called out to her too.
Because I can only imagine what my son thought as he lay there with little to no hope of preserving his life. And I couldn't hold him. And even when he got to the hospital and they told me that he didn't make it, I never got to touch him warm again because they told me he was evidence.
A reality she struggles with to this very day. Hood feels Columbus police officers Jason Bear and Zachary Rosen unfairly killed her son, something she says she feels over and over again in this country with white police officers.
Fear, misunderstanding, no cultural diversity amongst the officers, no willingness, I think I would say, to even learn who we are, to see us as human as opposed to a suspect or crime or violence and all the other, negative things that come with certain communities, certain people, and especially our Black men.
4 years ago, that's why she marched. But in 2020, something different.
Because I feel like this country has turned a corner and there is no going back. I feel like our white allies have had to look racism in the face with an undeniable truth right now. And they have showed up and they are asking what they can do to help. A riot is from the voices of the unheard. People are hurting. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of promises that have not been fulfilled by our elected officials. So even yesterday, Chief Quinlan getting out there and walking with the protesters, that means nothing to me. Nothing. Because we don't have anything in writing that's saying they're implementing any type of change to bring accountability to this police force or any other police force.
You can hear that pain in her voice. Now, she tells me that everything reminds her of her son. She said the color red, the smell of his cologne. She says sometimes she finds it hard not to break down, but she says she can hear her son's voice in her ear telling her to do not give up, to keep on going. And that's exactly what she's doing.
The veil of racism is finally being pulled back and exposed for what it is. I am proud of our community to stand up and demand change and demand answers. However, most importantly, we have to invoke our right to vote. We have to vote out the leadership. We have to get people in that are going to fight for human rights, that are going to fight for equality, and will acknowledge that racism exists and willing to do something about it.
We're all human. There's one race technically, and that's the human race. That's what I believe in. And that's why I want all you young people out there, just get out and vote. We can do that now. We're of age now. We can make changes in this society and make it better.
Register to vote and vote. You don't like that guy in the White House? Vote him out. You don't like the guy in the State House? Vote him out. You don't like the guy in the City House? Vote him out. You don't like the prosecutor and the judge that overcharges your son and sends your son to prison? Vote them out. Voting is our power. Economic boycott is our power. Keep at it. You're doing the right thing. I am proud of our young people.
A good reason for our racial tension and our division right now is because the leader of our free world, even at the time when America is in its crisis and just needs kind words of compassion and hope, he antagonizes, he agitates, and that trickles down. I feel like most of society, we're getting better. But he antagonizes the racists and the people that don't want change and don't want unity. And I think that's a big part of the problem right now.
Talk about some of the problems. Some of the problems when you talk to some African American men, some African Americans, they talk about the first time they experienced racism. I'm going to have that conversation right now with Julian Turner, who just graduated from Morehouse College just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
Congratulations. Let's talk about the first time you, marketing major, experienced racism.
That is kind of hard to pinpoint because this is such a integral part of just our lifestyle. I've become desensitized to it. Microaggressions.
You're saying
all the
it
time.
happens that
happens
often.
that often. You know, you have to get used to being uncomfortable at a certain point. Walking around, getting stares, having to often check your overreactions, or even just your reactions to the point where they're underreactions to certain stuff because you don't want to have to reinforce these stereotypes. that are put on you. So I can't really pinpoint because I've been experiencing it all my life.
You said as early as middle school, though.
Yeah, back when you go from bullying, it seemed like bullying wasn't just bullying to us because it was how people treated you. You know, it wasn't like, oh, today I got bullied because my shirt. It was really just how people talked to you. It was just how people looked at you. It was how people moved when you were walking towards them. It was how people crossed the street when you're walking the street, how people clutched their purses.
I'm going to bring Xavier Sims into the conversation, another graduate from Morehouse, majoring in sociology. Let's talk about your experiences. Sometimes you hear from non-African American men will say to you, come on, that really didn't happen. You're being a little too sensitive.
Yeah, similar to Julian, it's been like an ongoing thing that I've had to, I don't want to say become familiar with it, but learn how to control my reactions to it. From being in my neighborhood and going on a run to seeing, 50 people going across the street when they see me running to even in sports by different coaches who didn't want to recruit me or come to my neighborhood to speak with me. It's been pervasive throughout my whole life and something that my family has had to sit my sisters and I down to teach us, how to be our best selves in whatever situation.
And you grew up right here in Columbus, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What neighborhood? What high school did you go to?
I went to Eastmore Academy High School, but I live on Cleveland Avenue on the north side of Columbus, Ohio.
And did you experience some in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, no, because it's primarily black. But if you go right behind my neighborhood, there's Minerva Park, which is Westerville, considered Westerville, and if you go within that neighborhood and you drive through that neighborhood, no one looks like me, and it's cops. It's like a police station within that neighborhood.
And when you're growing up, you're told to stay out of that neighborhood at a certain hour, correct?
Absolutely.
And this was just 10 years ago.
Yes.
All right, Julian, let's talk about what you guys have planned on Saturday. You're planning a peaceful protest.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, the value that you see in the protests and the demonstrations, and how much change you think is going to come out of what you're seeing right now, and what you're going to do on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to have platforms to use our voice just as much as we show uniformity and take action. When we were watching the protests on the news, we just texted each other, just given that we just graduated from Morehouse, we just said we need to do something. But we felt that we needed to create a platform not only for us to use our voice as we've always done in the past, but we need to create a platform to bring people to come hear us. And so that's the thing that we've been trying to do with our protests. We wanted to not only create a platform to bring community members and community leaders to come speak, but to also bring the people who can actually make changes and to come hear us.
All right, Julian, Xavier, thank you so much. Interesting conversation, because when you're not on when we're not on camera, I'm going to call them the old heads are talking to the new heads. With much respect, I mean that. And the conversation that we're having, I'm going to let you listen in. Matt, I'm going to toss it back over to you right now.
Thank you very much, Darlene. Yeah, we're back here at St. Paul AME, and we've had a great conversation just while we've been away. And I want to bring it to Deontay. And if you don't know the story with Deontay, owns a shop called Soul Classics in the Short North. And if you don't know, on Friday night, shop was looted, but normally that would be the story. You've completely changed the narrative on that story, because what you then put up once you boarded up your shop was a great message to the city about what we need to do with our youth. Kind of explain why you wrote that and why that was so important for you to send that message.
Well, I mean, I think that oftentimes, your natural inclination is to be upset, and I think that we pass that on too much in this world that we're in. Like, everything is like, let's be mad, let's figure out a way to get back at somebody, and then, nobody's ever there to kind of catch you and be like, yo, let's navigate this to a positive lane and figure it out. So my message was really to the Short North community. I didn't really think it was going to blow up into something that was beyond that, but my message was just kind of like, I know everybody was going to wake up the next day and be scared, board up their windows and stuff like that, but let's kind of get to the root of the issue, as opposed to figuring out new locks and new ways to board up our neighborhood, the thing that we're precious and holds value in our hearts. So it's kind of really to my community, like, let's figure out ways to help each other. if you have a bigger following, we have a very big following. So we raised a whole lot of money. Let's figure out how we can help that shop that just opened up and donate money and put money in their pockets. So I think it was just more of a community message.
And that's the great thing is that I know you've set up where people can donate to help the repairs, but you've already said the extra money is going to go toward other minority businesses that were damaged. So thank you for that. It's been great. Heather, I want to bring it to you because today was a very somber day in America as we saw the memorial for George Floyd. And I know it has to be hard as a mother when every time you see one of these deaths happen, you have to explain it to your children. What was that like, having to explain the George Floyd death?
Explaining to my children that racism still exists was very hard. They don't see it, they don't know it, they don't feel it. And just to make sure that my sons understood that they are Black, that was one of the hardest things to do, because to them they're like, Mom, I'm just Elijah, or I'm just Elias. It's not a Black boy, it's what their name is. Yeah. So they don't really understand it, but I try to make sure that I explain to them that an injustice anywhere is an injustice to us everywhere. So I don't want you to understand it differently than that. We are all affected. We're all in Minnesota right now.
Yeah, it's so true. Steve, I want to bring it to you because just like Heather has to talk to her kids, you have to talk to your players, your JV coach at Whitehall, and you guys just had a conversation about this.
Yeah, it was important because with everything going on, and obviously with the coronavirus, the pandemic, it's hard to really have a grasp on your players. You don't get to have that day-to-day interaction. So myself and Coach Williams, our head coach over at Whitehall, just all felt that it was important. We got on the Zoom call today and just let our guys, pick their brains about, do you know what's going on? Surprisingly, some of the younger generation, I don't know if they understand the impact, but I think that it was important from us as Black leaders and their coach to make sure that, hey, that your coaches are instilling this into you. You know what I'm saying? Because the type of team that we have and where we go, we run into it anyway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is slowly starting to get around to them, but it's important. Just like we treat our players like they are our own kids. So the same conversation that I have with our players, same kind of conversation I'm having with my own kids. So it's very important.
And Mark, I want to get to you because you've been at the protest and you've been able to see how diverse that crowd is. For change to happen, we're going to need everybody to make this happen, right?
Absolutely. I think it's been really inspiring to see so many diverse people at the protests, because it's been about 20 years since the Rodney King incident happened, and about 60 years since Martin Luther King was marching, and you go back to all those times and you could see that it was mostly Black people that were a part of those protests specifically, and thinking, like you said, it's going to take all of us to really get that change that we're looking for, and seeing all those people there, it makes me feel like we actually may get change from this.
Absolutely. I want to let everyone know that we put resources on NBC4i.com, everything from how to, voter registration, how to contact your local law enforcement, how to contact your local politicians, everything you need to know so you can make change. Protesters' rights, health resources, all right now on NBC4i.com/theconversation. We really hope you'll go there today, tomorrow, throughout this month, and throughout the year, so you can figure out how you can get change made. We'll be back in a minute.
I hope and I remain faithful that we can move beyond this pain, that we can have the conversations that are needed, that will turn into action in our corporate boardrooms, in our state capitals, in our Supreme Courts, in our homes.
This is amazing. It's nationwide, it's worldwide, it is across races. It is people stepping up, speaking out for their fellow man. I am purely inspired and I am hopeful.
When I began to see Black, brown, and white people marching together, and I began to receive text messages and emails from some of my white friends and colleagues offering support and owning responsibility to help, I began to feel hopeful again. Hope to fight for a better tomorrow.
I feel as I watch today, I don't remember seeing so many cities involved, so many racial groups involved, the diversity of the crowds, the worldwide participation, I think America, at least a significant amount of America, has finally gotten it. And I really hope that our country finally gets it.
For me, being an African-American woman and seeing deaths like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and countless other senseless murders at the hands of officers is very dwelling on my self-esteem to be a contributing member to society when it feels as though society does not want me to be here or others that look like me.
Institutions addressing what's going on right now, they're not doing enough. They're literally not doing enough. I feel like a lot of HBCU schools in general, companies in general, are just sending out these censored messages of solidarity and all these things, and they don't mean it, or they're just doing it just so they won't get bashed, you know?
While I feel completely overjoyed and totally liberated that social media has enabled us to bring so much attention to George Floyd's narrative and amplifying his voice, in the same breath, us as a Black community has added to the continual erasure and invisibility of not only Black women, but Black trans lives, and that's not okay.
We have every right to be angry, emotional, fed up right now, but we have to remember to keep peace and love in the center of our hearts. We have to love ourselves. We have to love each other. We have to really just love on our people right now, because that's what's going to keep us pushing forward and moving. And we are all in this fight together. And we all we got.
During this time, I think it's important to help out in whichever way works for you. If you can donate, sign petitions, call in, text, or protest, but just make sure that you're doing something that helps the cause.
Oddly enough, I feel hopeful, and for me, I get this hope from a scripture that comes to mind for me is 2 Corinthians 4 verses 8 to 9. It says, "We are hard pressed on all sides, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed." And I feel as though, especially during this time, amidst everything that's going on, amidst the craziness, amidst the fear, amidst all else that has been taking place, amidst the disenfranchisement, I still have this hope, because I know that despite it all, I'm not destroyed and we're not destroyed, and that Black lives do matter.
Welcome back to The Conversation, an hour-long special here on NBC4. I'm Matt Barnes here at the historic St. Paul A&B Church, leading one conversation here.
And I'm Darlene Hill, of course, at Way Down Yonder, where we're eating and we're talking about the unrest that we're watching right now. I'm going to step out of the way and continue the conversation that I've been having with the four gentlemen here. Like I said, we've got gentlemen from different generations, and we've been talking about the system and have Black men ever been able to trust the system? We talk about Trayvon Martin. We talk about Sandra Bland. We talk about, of course, lynchings and picnics that went on where, of course, Black men were on display, only to be hung, while picnics, tablecloths were set out. You feel differently, Adam Troy, about the system now?
No, I think past is prologue, and it would be a mistake for us to assume that because the players have changed, that history has changed. Kenny and I were talking earlier, and we were just talking about, as Black men, you just always feel like it's the United States versus you.
The important thing is that you walk into a situation with your eyes wide open. So I think for the average black person out here, right, particularly men, we understand that the deck is already stacked.
But we see what's going on right now. We see how everybody is coming together around the world, of course, fighting for that racial justice, fighting for reform, fighting for change. Are you, though, and you said this earlier, hopeful, and it's not just about George Floyd, it's for all of the others. Somebody said you're even reaching all the way back to Emmett Till days.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that Mr. Floyd simply became the straw that broke the camel's back. This has been mounting and mounting and mounting. And again, as we talked earlier, America finally got to see the covers pulled off of it in live and living color. And when something is so painful and so impactful that it's undeniable, older Americans are having a difficult time justifying that to the next generation. And that is the pain and the push that you see behind the movement at this juncture.
Okay, Kenny, let's talk about the conversation that you have with your 9-year-old son. Not something that's pleasant, because you said he's been very emotional. He was going to join us today, but this is even too hard that your 9-year-old son can't deal with.
Right, and you know, as a father and as a parent, you know, you want better for your kids than what you had, and you want them to be able to experience the joys of youthful bliss, and you want them to have a better life. But the challenge is, you know, when you have to have these types of conversations, you rob kids of that innocence, you rob them of that youth, you rob them of, you know, I don't see color, I only see things, and then to have to expose, well, hey, you are different, because there are some things about you that people are going to prejudge, no matter how good of a kid you are, no matter how great your grades are, no matter how respectful you are, there is still an element out there that's going to judge you, and it's for no fault of your own, so it's tough.
So while laws will be put into place, reform may happen, how do you change minds and perceptions, and how do you not black men, but what do you say to the generation that just graduated from college?
Yeah, I was just talking to my young Morehouse Lions earlier, and I think we all agree that it takes both the pen and the sword. And historically what has happened, it's typically been one or the other, in large part because America is great at putting you in the box. And when we talk about the pen has to happen at the policy level. It is the piece that happens in C-suites at the executive level, right?
Right.
The sword happens on the street. And so these guys have to make sure that we are pushing the toggle board together at the same time. I have the utmost confidence in them because we're from the same institution. And as they know, Benjamin Mays always said, above the heads of her students, Morehouse holds a crown that it challenges them to grow tall enough to wear. They're going to get there.
And Julian and Xavier were talking about how voting is so important. That's going to be the key as well. Not just every time, it's every 4 years when it's time to vote for a president, but the local level as well.
Well, yeah, we'll be holding voter registration, and not only voter registration, but voter education. But, you know, I feel that's one side of it, but I think it's also about the perception of us in media, and also the perception that's shown to us through our peers and through the imagery. So I think when you talk about people bring up things like black on black crime and not understanding the historical significance and the historical background of these communities, you don't really get to understand why we're painted like this, and you don't understand the causes of it.
Okay, Julian, thank you so much. We're going to have, again, he's having a protest a little bit later on this week and on Saturday. We'll make sure you get that information. And we're talking about, of course, the mental health. Go to our website, NBC4i.com. We've got a list of resources where you can talk about if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for somebody to talk to because you're just not okay, especially with everything that we're seeing, the pandemic, of course, the looting that we're seeing, the rioting that we're seeing, things like that. If you need somebody to talk to, NBC4i.com. Matt, back over to you at the church.
Yeah, a lot of great resources there. Thank you very much, Darlene. You'll notice during these conversations, we're not talking to politicians or the police chief or even city council people. We're talking to the people that are in the community, and that's for a reason. But we also know we have to hold those people accountable for change to happen. We talked about Deontay's store being looted and the change you want to see. Well, the mayor stopped by your shop. What did he talk about? Or what did you talk to him? What did you ask him for to help see that change?
Well, initially, I mean, obviously we talked about the store initially, and then it kind of transitioned into what can we do? I believe that we first saw, mention of his Citizens Review Board for the police department, like somewhere around January before all this COVID and everything started to take off. So my question was, where are we at on that? You know, what is his thoughts and things, and how does he feel about it? And, you know, are we actually pushing forward with it or not? And, you know, I got a very good conversation back. You know, I don't think that a lot of people understand how much is controlled by the FOP, you know, how we have to ask the right questions or ask for the right things from that department. And, you know, even relations, like at the end of the day, we have to repair relations between the community and the police force. It's not going to take a who's right or wrong. It's going to take us collectively working together to get some things on the table. So that was our conversation, and I'm hoping that we can continue that.
It's a great conversation to be had, and I'm glad the mayor had it with you. Heather, let's talk about the police. You know, there's a bit of a rift with some of the protesters with the police, but we also know that's a conversation that needs to be had, a healthy conversation and communication with them.
Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, a police officer is a man behind the badge. He is still a man, and he should be treated as such. He should not be treated with any disrespect, because at the end of the day, he took an oath to provide safety for these streets, and that's what we need. And we don't want, like Deontay said, we don't want it to be you versus us. We want you to come together and know that they are parts of our community, and we need you.
I heard one policeman I was talking to today say it's okay to be pro-black and pro-police.
Right.
It is. It's okay to be that. You know? And there are a lot of cops that are just like that. It goes beyond just local politicians, though, and the police. It goes to the national level as well. From what you're seeing on the national scale, are you encouraged?
Somewhat, but I also think that there has to be. I don't want to get lost in, you know, oh, look at these cops, they kneeled with us, or they walked with us, or, you know, they danced with us today. My best friend is a cop. My stepson, his father is a cop. So, yes, I do know that there are good cops out there, but there are also not every black person is bad too, but yet we getting our head bashed in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's so I think that, like Deontay said, like, the conversation is there, but we've been having this conversation, it seems like, for forever. It has to, police need to police themselves. Yeah. Like, I think the quicker that we can get rid of the bad apples, as some people would like to argue, there's just a couple bad apples, the quicker we can move forward. But at the end of the day, like, I remember talking to my best friend, and I asked him, like, you know, what's the scariest part of your job? And he said, you know, just making sure I make it home at night. Yeah. But think about that. That's the same thing for a black man. So we just want to make it home at night.
Mark, how much of this is just about accountability?
I think that's everything. You know, we've been looking at all of the videos, and this is not just the video from George Floyd. I mean, videos going back years, going back to even, you know, Trayvon Martin's case. We've seen a ton of different videos about people just not being held accountable, and that's the biggest thing we need. At the end of the day, if we have people that are there to keep other people accountable, we don't have to worry about even employing the community review board that we're talking about now, because it won't be necessary. So if we can figure out how we can make sure that these officers are also holding those other bad apple officers accountable, then we can easily move forward with change.
Completely agree. It's a conversation that needs to be had with the community, the cops, the politicians, and it's good to see that's happening in Columbus, but sometimes change just takes a while, and we just want it to be done a little faster. Let's hear more from some more voices here in our community.
Class of 2020, you have the monumental task of eliminating racial discrimination, bigotry, and bias, not only in this country, but around the world. And as you continue to fight for justice and equality, teach the class of 2021 what you have learned. And the class of 2021 will do the same with the class of 2022.
It's something that's been affecting this country since it started. I mean, we need equality right now. I got 3 kids at home that are mixed race. I'm mixed race myself. It's not just about one thing, it's about everything. It's about all of us. As I'm standing here looking at all these people, this is Ohio. This is Ohio. All these different colors, different religions, everything. So we need to stand up and make a change happen right now, and that's what's happening.
If you're black, a traffic stop could result in an officer on the news asking for forgiveness
with his paid leave of absence and backhanded apology telling your mother that he's sorry that she gave birth to a statistic, even though the dash cam footage shows the unarmed black man getting beaten black and blue until he put that red eye on him and shot till he was dead. So either I'm colorblind or my color wheel was dyslexic, because since when did mixing black with blue make so much red? Stop the violence.
Right now, I am thankful that I am being able to witness history. History that I believe is going to make a change. And I am thankful that I am able to witness people from all different races, ages, come together to create a change. And I think that's what I will remember and take with me forever.
I had the chance to speak with the retired Columbus City school teacher, Jesse Jackson. Now, he's also my former teacher at Warner Ridge High School on the city's east side. He says a lot of what he's seeing right now reminds him of the civil rights movement. He says black folks are sick and tired of marching over and over and over again for the same thing. He says something has to give, and it has to give right now.
Watching that brother with his on the ground and those guys just walking around watching that happen, that pissed me off more than anything else.
Retired Columbus City school teacher Jesse Jackson watched with the rest of the world in horror as George Floyd took his last breath when Derek Chauvin, a white police officer with the Minneapolis Police Department, pressed his knee on his neck for almost 9 minutes as other officers sat back and did nothing. Jackson says social media is really exposing a lot of the injustice that's happening between the black community and police that otherwise would go unnoticed. Reminds him of the 1960s.
When I was growing up, TV was starting to show things on the news like police sicking dogs on protesters and you know, fire hoses on protesters and the physical brutality that they were dishing out on protesters was starting to come to light on TV. So the nation was starting to see the things that had been undercover for so long.
You know, I've had conversations with other people around your age group who have had to witness a lot of riots, the dogs being, you know, released on people and all of this crazy stuff that happened then. And they're almost like they said they're reliving it now. Does it feel like you're reliving it now?
You know, I've gotten to a point where I think we got to stop marching. I don't think, you know, we've been marching for 60 years, you know, and it hasn't really got us anywhere. And we have to get smart enough to know that there's some other things that we got to be doing now if we want to make a change.
Some of the feedback has been negative. People judging or saying, this is crazy what they're doing, they should not be doing this. In your experience, your life experience, what do you say?
Well, I'm gonna start by saying that there's a difference between the rioting that went on in 65, 68 in Cleveland and across the country then and what's happening now. You know, back then we burned down our own neighborhoods. You know, you know, I remember in 68 that, I guess it was late in, I just remember it being late in the summer, like in July, and watching the corner of my street on fire. And all those businesses that were up there were being burned out.
But today, the demonstrations moved from black communities to downtown businesses.
It's just a way of being heard from a group of people that haven't been heard. You know, that's our voice right now. So what we get out of it, I don't know. But I know that at least they'll hear us, especially now that we're burning up somebody else's neighborhood. To the mayor, you know, take heed. Now you see what you got a group of young people with a lot of energy, a lot of fire, and they brave. And I think if he doesn't sit down and respond to them and listen to them, it's going to get worse.
But until then, Jackson has a direct message to black people still in the fight for equal rights, equal opportunities as white Americans.
Growing up, at our time, it was always 110%. You got to do 110% better than everybody else if you want to make it.
Something my grandma always told me, we got to work, do 110%, work 10 times harder to advance in the white world.
We're at a tipping point, and I think that we have to work together. I think those corporations that are making a commitment about racism has to really make that commitment and really take action. And I think taking action really will give us an opportunity to make change. I don't think we can talk anymore. I don't think we can just have conversations about it. I think we really have to dig deep down in and take action. And we have to put things in order. We have to take steps, and maybe baby steps, but we have to start taking steps towards eliminating systemic racism.
This stuff has been building up for a long time. We knew that this was coming eventually, and I think it's not going to change until we have justice. We need change in police. We need to defund the police, and we need to look out for each other, no matter your socio-economic class, your race, your height. We need to look out for each other, and I think that this is potentially the first time that we're being heard.
And so many times in our neighborhoods we hear, I am my brother's keeper. Now it's clear that everybody else is trying to keep us, and of course we appreciate that. I kept saying looting and rioting while we've been talking today. I apologize to our viewers out there because I do know that there have been so many peaceful protests going on. So I'm going to end this with Kenny talking about just how optimistic, how hopeful you are that so much good is going to come out of this.
I do think there's a lot of good that's going to come out of this.
A lot of pain.
Yeah, and I won't minimize that, but I think good will come out of this because as I was talking with these gentlemen over here, you know, we may have gone to different universities, we may have pledged different organizations, but we share a common goal and purpose. We're not going to be the generation of our parents. We are going to come up with solutions to go forward. And so I think the good that will come out of this is we will be aligned, we will unify and unite, and whatever differences we may have had in the past, those are all gone now. The world is looking at us now and how we're going to respond and react.
Kenny Marshall, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Adam Troy, what do you have to say about going forward and how you will make sure that your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids won't have to march like this?
Yeah, I think it starts in the individual homes, and so you have to model what you want them to see. So, in fact, on Saturday, I'm having a conversation with some of my business partners, right? All folks who don't look like me. And we all trust one another, and so I would encourage everybody to do that.
And will it be real? Will it be raw? They
Absolutely.
can ask anything.
Absolutely. That's the trust factor. We've known each other in some cases 10 to 20 years, and so when that call came, it was almost like they were waiting to exhale. So I'm super excited about what I think is going to come out of conversation, and I'm encouraging my kids, these guys and everybody else, have the conversation with your own spheres of influence, and then challenge folks who don't look like us to have conversations with people who we'll never come in contact with.
Adam Troy, thank you. Julian Turner, let's talk to you. Just because you just graduated, you're getting ready to get a job and get on out here. Are you feeling optimistic going out into the world? And how will you drop some of the fear of being able to just not, a fear of the police?
I think I'm very optimistic. I don't necessarily have a fear, but I think there's the optimism comes from the level of transparency that I think we're having now because of technology and because of the boldness. I think there's a level of boldness from our peers that we're seeing that's allowing us to be able to make change. And so I don't necessarily have a fear more so than I've always had my whole life. So I'm optimistic about moving forward and using my voice for a change.
All right, Julian, thank you. Xavier, let me get your thoughts, your comments going out of this.
Yeah, I'm optimistic.
And having this kind of conversation.
Yeah, I think this conversation is necessary and needed. I think for time and time, you know, there's been this ideology of like progress, and I watched like a documentary on James Baldwin when he talked about this idea of progress in '89, and he said it took my mother's time, my father's time, my grandmother's time, you know, and this is my question also: how long do you want for your progress, America? And I think now what we're doing is coming together. It's us trying to jumpstart this change and this progress that we want to see for our kids and for our grandkids, and so we can make this place a better place.
All right, thank you so much, Xavier. Xavier just dropped James Baldwin on us tonight, and I got to throw out my favorite quote by James Baldwin. Not everything that you face in life can you change, but nothing will change until you face it, and America is being forced to face it now, right now. Matt Barnes, over to you.
Darlene, that leads me to my quote too, which our lives begin the end the day we become silent about things that matter. Well, this matters to a lot of people, and it should matter to everyone, frankly. Let's get some final thoughts from our panel here. And Deontay, let's start with you. Where do we go from here? What changes need to be made, and what have you seen that makes you think that's going to happen?
Well, I believe that it's two-phased. I think that we need to see our change with our leadership, like from the governor to the mayor and so forth. I think we need to see tangible goals set, and we need to see the plan of action of how it's going to be executed. And then the second phase is from our people. We need to make sure that we're not splintering off into different agendas. I want to see a unified front. So if we're going to continue this fight, we're going to continue this action, we need to make sure that we're not making two of the same groups that are both looking to gain the same momentum. Let's go ahead and form them into one.
This feels like the civil rights movement of our generation. Heather, how do you feel about that in terms of what's the progress we need to make here? What can we do?
I definitely agree with that. So I feel like we need to get out and vote. We need to exercise our rights that we know of. We can go ahead and vote. We can go ahead and go to our community meetings. We can go to our council meetings and make sure our voice is heard in the right way and have the right channels look at it.
I always say voting is the ultimate protest.
Yes, it is.
And I saw you registering people to vote. I'm proud of you. Steve, again, as someone who's got a platform on the radio, I know you have a chance to reach a lot of people. What do you want to tell the people today?
I continue to use my platform to let people be heard.
Mm-hmm.
I want our voices to continue to be heard, regardless of what your standpoint is. But the biggest thing is that I don't want this to become a trend. I don't want this to be another hashtag that gets buried when I don't want to wish that, but if a celebrity dies next week, then we forget about this, or the corona spikes or something, and then this gets buried into the second or third news story, and we forget about it. So I just want our voices to be heard, and just keep the momentum going that we do have.
Again, I know we've talked about, the rioting and looting and violence on television, but Mark, there's a message here, and here's your chance. Again, what progress do you want to see seen in Columbus and frankly the nation?
I think it's a combination of what everyone has said so far. Like I said before, we have to have a relationship with the police officers. If we don't, then they're going to continue to stop us for no reasons at all. They're going to continue to do things that probably shouldn't be done. We have to vote, like she said, because there are people that we can get into office that are going to be powerful and really get our message across. And then we have to do our part. At the end of the day, if we're going out and doing things that we're probably not supposed to do, then people are going to want to get more attention to us. Mm-hmm. If we can figure out ways to do all three, I think we'll see the change that we want.
Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to throw in one more thing. It's nice to see all the diversity at these protests and all these allies. I want people to know that they can't just be non-racist. They need to be anti-racist. They need to step up. They need to speak out when they see racism within their families, within their communities, whether you're white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever it may be. Can't just be us. It's got to be all of us.
And it got to be genuine.
Exactly. It's got to be genuine.
Yeah. Come out there for a photo op.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Yeah. Blackout Tuesday was nice, but let's get to the action behind it, if you know what I mean. Right. Deontay, Heather, Steve, Mark, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us once again. Again, NBC4i.com/The Conversation. We have resources there for you to check out everything from, again, how to register to vote, how to contact your local politicians, your local law enforcement. Change can be made, but it's going to take all of us to make that happen. Darlene, it's been a great night.
It has been a great night because it was a real, raw conversations with, like you say, so many of the people that are impacted by some of the stuff, some of the violence that happens out there on the streets. And like you said, this is not the first time. We're committed to continuing the conversation at NBC4. And I got to give a quick shout out to the owner here, way down yonder, Yonder Miller. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, everybody. Let's keep the conversation going on our social media platforms and hit us up on our website, NBC4i.com/The Conversation. Good night, everybody.